What's up, y'all? This is Hussein Nasser from iGeometry, and today we will do some refactoring on our code that we have been authoring for the past 7 episodes, I think. I think this is the 8th or maybe the 9th, I'm not sure. But yeah, so remember, we have been building this small map viewer using ArcGIS JavaScript, hitting the public instances of ArcGIS Online, populating all this stuff, having all the base maps, changing base maps, OSM, topo. We have written a lot of code, and as I was just preparing for the next episode, I was like, holy moly, that is some spaghetti code. Look at that. Look at that. Linguine pasta. Look at that. So we need to clean this up. We need to factorize that code into more manageable modules that we can call in, right? There's a lot of things that we can clean up here. So let's just go start from the top. So HTML head, we can pretty much keep this, and right, these are some elements, the buttons. So we have the map view, the table of content, the buttons. By the way, that's supposed to be a table of content. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna put it somewhere here on the left, or maybe an overlay on top of the map. Well, we'll have to learn some CSS skills. If anybody out there have some skills on the CSS side and HTML5, please step in. That would be great, because I'm not the best at CSS and HTML5 and designing, and yeah, as you can see, I'm very functional, man. Barely make things working. So yeah, as per building something pretty, I'm not the right guy. So yeah, if we can like use your CSS skills, that would be great. I mean, I should start even sharing this code into like GitHub or something. Yeah, we should do that. All right, let's get started. Let's not waste time. All right, so first of all, we have this base maps array, and then there is a loop, and then there's this function, and then we can loop through all the base map array, and we just generate these buttons. How about if we wrote a function for that, huh? Let's just write a function. Let's get generate base maps. How does that sound? And I'm gonna copy all this code here. Let's select all that. Tap it off, make it pretty. And just like that, we have this function. Now if we refresh, obviously we're not gonna see these guys because we did not call this function, correct? So we can decide to call it as you are building the map. That's an option. All right. That worked, right? So as you call the map, build that. Let's see if, I'm not quite sure, but can I move this at the end? Let's try that. I'm not quite sure that will work. Actually worked. How about that? That's actually better. All right, so you can actually move everything to the bottom, right? And then might as well just add comments. Generate a list of buttons for base maps. All right, start cleaning up. All right. Pool permit. So I want to put this into a, this requires really good work. So let's just do this, all right? I will put this to the left here as a table of content, as an actual cell, right? So I don't have MS Paint here, so I can't show you, but we'll basically create a table, and this table will have two columns. The first column will have these guys, the second column will have the map. Let's just do that, and we can play with that here. Yeah, let's float with this already. So table tr td, that's the end of the td, so that's a column, so it can become readable here. So that's the first column. The second column here, we will add the talk. Yeah, somewhere like that. TD. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, what was that? All right, so that's the map. The first column is the map. The second column is the what do you call it? The talk. All right, let's refresh and see. Full permit. Yeah, so that's the map, and that we can flip them, right? Yeah, why not? Let's just flip them. Refresh. As you fill something, there you go. Looks good. It looks perfect. All right, so this is showing in the center by default. And if I remember correctly, there is something called v-align, which is the vertical align, and I want this to be on top. Now we'll refresh that. Let's see. Hey, that what? Oh, I'm sorry. That's the property of the TD. By the way, I don't know what TD stands for. I know it's a column, but I don't know. Really, what it stands for? I have no clue. Look at that. It's on top now. You like it on top, don't you? You nasty. Look at that. Woo! Has permit. No permit. Look at that. Okay. So another thing I do not like is whatever we have built here. Okay, so I want to build this in a list approach, right? So I want to build auto-generate these. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Mate. Show me that. See, it's a label. This is the checkbox. That's a label. Checkbox label. Checkbox label. So what I want to do is I want to create some sort of a list item here. So let's put in something here so I can show you. So there is something called so today's like there's a lot of HTML going on here. So these tags, I swear to God, I learned these when I was in the university, like first year college, like when I first learned it, and they stick for some reason. So I know there is a list, I know there is a table. Most of you will probably have far better tags and techniques in HTML5 that you don't have to use these elements, but that's all I know. I know this is old school, but yeah, if there is another way to create a list item, by all means, do let me know. I'm very old school here. All right, so yeah, so that's how we create an unordered list, and the first list, let's say some narcissistic. I was about to write my name there. Let's do something else. Bread, and then list item. Cheese. That's how you spell cheese. It'll be embarrassing if it's not. List item. wine. What else? Can you guys think of anything? Literally, food. What did I eat today? I ate burgers. So this is just to show you, like, this is what a list look like. All right. So that you just a list, right? Just show you that. By the way, if I select something, this will be wiped off because we have this code which is literally inner HTML equal, which wipes out any code that already exists. So we don't really mind if that shows up for a while. All right, now I want to clean up this mess here. But before I do that, I want to start using list items here instead of whatever that is, right? So let's think of this code, right? So what does this code do? We created a layer, we select that layer, and we remove any map in this layer, and then we add that layer, and then we wait. How about we write some comments now? Wait until the layer is loaded. All right. Then what? Once it's loaded, we call this function, which is this whole thing up to here. Let me do this here so we can, yep, we can do that. If it's readable, I don't know. So all this code is executed when the map is loaded, and that is like, give me the talk element, which is the div, which is this puppy, right? And then once you get that, empty it, and then loop through all sub layers in that layer, and then stop populating. So how about we move this into a function? Let's start with that. Our functions here. Function populate layer. Populate layers. Yeah, why not? Populate layer will take a layer, and you need to give me where do you want to populate this layer. And this is really critical here. Okay, so I'm gonna write element. Okay, that's where we want to write this function. Populate layer sub items in the input element. How about that? And let's move all this code, since this is not part of populating the layer. We'll cut that loop and put it literally there. Okay, and make it pretty. Boom, 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 back, boom. Yep. So just by moving things into function doesn't mean the code is clean, right? It's like cleaning up your room and you just stick all the garbage into the closet. This is exactly what I do, right? This is exactly what I'm doing now, which is not good. We're gonna clean the code more and more. But yeah, obviously my wife really gets really pissed when I do that. It's like, clean your room, clean that. Can you clean up the closet? So it's like, stick everything into the closet and just close it. Close the closet, and the room is clean, literally. And says, oh, wow, good job. And then she opens the closet and found out that everything's there. So yeah, that's a sad 1 minute story. All right, populate layers. Populate layer, what do you take? You take the layer object, which is this. And where do you want to populate it in? I want to populate it in the talk, because you talk the talk. Obviously, the code won't. It worked, but it's BS, believe me, because we're just passing an element that we'll never use, and this layer is using that element, and it's not clean. So let's do this. Yeah, this is called this layer, and let's just use any variable here to change it to this layer. Now we're talking. And then if your element we're doing here is we're creating a new element input, and then where are you adding it? You're adding it to the talk. Okay, we're gonna change this to EL. So what does that do now? We pass the element, we pass the layer, and then now he's using not the global variable layer, but it's actually using the parameter layer. Let's see if this code actually works now. Oh, sir, this is not what I wanted. What? That's cool. Recreation. Look at you. Oh, some fancy symbology. That is cool. That is dope. All right, look at that. Okay, so obviously it works still, and the code look a little bit cleaner. But we're still not satisfied. We want to use what? We said we want to use what? We want to use the lists, right? So we don't want to pass in the entire talk, but we will pass in a list. Wonder how that will work. Let's do this. Okay, let's create a list. Layer list equal document dot create element. Yeah, why not? Unordered list. And then I'm gonna create layer item. Oh no, we'll actually just pass in literally the layer list, right? But another thing here we missed is after you create this unordered list, we want to append it to the talk. Does that make sense? I think it does, right? So now there's no GIS talk at all. This episode was just pure JavaScript and pure HTML. All right. Another thing, guys. If you want me to skip through this and you want me to focus on GIS more, do tell me. All right. If you want me to do more JavaScript, yeah, I'm open for any of that. Okay. Layer list. Layer. We pass in the layer. And one more thing. Now we did pass in the layer list, but so EL now is actually a list, right? So let's call it layer list for simplicity. So this layer list is actually a list, right? So to populate a list, you need to create list elements. All right, so I have my elements ready. Now what I'm missing is to create a list element, which is the li. Remember that? Remember? And we have to create this, and then we'll create the checkbox here and all this jazz. Right? Let's go back here, create an element, and let layer item is equal that. So we created the layer item, and then in layer item I'm gonna add these guys. And in the layer list, I will add the entire layer item. Let's see if that makes sense. So we have the checkbox, the label, which is the layer name, okay? And then I added these two into a layer item. So now I have one layer item, with one checkbox and one label, right? I'll take that layer item element and add it to a layer list, all right? So let's see if my logic holds here and we got this, or we basically maybe ruined it. Look at that. Now we have a list. How about that? We have finally a list. All right. And now our code is clean enough for the next episode to do recursion and do list of lists of lists. But let's just do more house cleaning here. Okay. Populate layer list. That is nice. Layer.done. I wonder if the whole thing, what does that mean now? This is response request, requesting the layer. This is on change. Oh, that's just an event listener. Look at that. That's the work that we are doing when we change the when we change. That's the code that executes when we change that. There's a lot of code there. Lots of code. How about we do that? Function on change service. Okay, service map. Okay. See if that works. That's actually an actual function, right? So what I will do is basically see if I can do that. On change service map. Then we have to paste the code here. Obviously we don't need that function anymore. Then, as you can see, right, things are getting much better. Give me the list of this selected. Let's see if that will work actually. Now the code is set event listener on change. I know it's listener, by the way, guys. On change service map, list services, add an event, a loop. Why are we looping here? What are we doing here? We're creating result services to create an option. What does that mean? What? Oh, okay. Okay, that code is actually populating this service. But let's see if this works first. See if we didn't break anything, hopefully. Hopefully we didn't break anything. Yes, we did break something. Let's see, what did we break? What did we break? Sir, map layer is not defined. Oh, we exited, sir. We are now in a completely new territory. We are outside the view of this function of the require scope, which require all these classes, and then on change service try to create a new map layer on after which it says, oh, you cannot do that. But this is all closures, guys. So this function, I believe we can put a function inside a function. Let's see if that's possible. Let's see if it yells at me or not. If that works, then I'll explain. Okay, it works. But I don't know why it's like that. Yeah, that's probably because of that. All right, why this worked now? That's because of closures, guys. So this is a function, and this is a function inside a function. And since this is literally inside, right? It's actually inside the scope. It knows that map layer is actually that parameter right above me. But if you put it outside the scope of this function, it doesn't know what map layer is. Maybe if you like store it in a global variable, but it doesn't know otherwise, right? Yeah. So that is something else we have to know about. And there is this, where is that? Yeah, on change more, and there is this loop that populates the service itself. We can as well see if that works now. We didn't break anything. Did we break anything, sir? Did we? Nope. Wait. Yeah, still work. Oh my god. Our code is clean. Cleaner. I'm not saying clean, cleaner. Now it's actually, you can read that thing. Maybe I'll put that somewhere up on a constant or something. Response. Request is a function that take this request and then call this function. That's another function that basically populates the map services, right? So we can actually maybe do that. Maybe, just maybe. Give it a name. Populate map services. So I'm not sure if this is helping the readability, but you can do that, right? That means request will return a promise, and then if the promise is fulfilled, go and call this function, which is called literally populate services. Populate the drop-down list of map services. So I did not do much here. Just literally move that into another function. All right, it seems to be working. It seems to be nice. Recreational, pull permit. Yep, works. So there's a function inside a function inside a function inside a function inside a function. And that's another thing, right? Layer. You can choose to put everything into its own explicit function, but there is a limit. And frankly, I don't know what that limit is. I'm just experimenting here, guys. This is all for science. We're trying things out. Maybe it turns out to be a preference even. I mean, frankly, I don't like this approach, just having everything into a function by itself. But you can do it. I mean, you can still do that parentheses thing, but if it's turning out to be like a lot of nesting of expressions, then it turns out to be more and more complicated. So I guess it's just yeah, it's just a preference. Maybe do that. Again, that's just me cleaning up. So you can do that, right? So you know that this goes to this, this goes to this, and so on. All right, generate basement. I think we have some sort of a cleaner code that we can go abide by. And we can clean it even more and more by putting things into like source files. I did not try that method yet, but we can, by the way, delete that now. We don't really need that bread and wine. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Whoa. No. What did we do? What did we do? It's dead. I don't know what I did. Oh, it's back, it's back. Ooh, okay, nobody died. We're all alive. Okay, it's just momentary went out of service. All right. Okay, guys, I think I'll stop here. It's been a short episode. We did some sort of refactoring, not much. But if I see something more that needs to be cleaned, I'll definitely do that. But now we're ready to do the next thing, which is I want to load things that are that has nesting. Basically, that will be in the next episode, where things like military, right? Nope, this one. So where a group layer has another group layer has some layers, and then all of that, right? So we'll do that next, and in the next one we will do something more and more exciting, where we'll add the button here, and that button will show me the table of content, not table of content, attribute table of that layer. So we'll open a table here, a table view of that layer, and that's basically really easy to do. Really, we need to call in something called a query here. I'll pass in a where clause, and then we'll say yes. There's no query, there's no results here, but you see the point, right? So you'll see that. We'll show you. We can go here. So the query is a feature service, so we'll have to hit the feature service to do a query, and then once you do that, you'll get a query result. Maybe we'll choose JSON, obviously, but this is like a list of all the features returned from that query, and then we'll populate it in a beautiful table here. All right, so all that coming. Obviously, if you have more things you're excited to do, we'll definitely do them. So what we're trying to do is like we're building our own viewer kind of any possible service. All right. Later will come editing, we'll do versioning, we'll do some cool stuff. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Goodbye.